the question comes up all the time recently about the difference between short sales and foreclosures and auction properties and then, regular listings. And I just wanted to touch on that briefly. If something is a short sale, that means that it's being sold for less than what the current owner owes on the property. So it's not a foreclosure, it's not an auction property. It means that the current owner is actually selling the property, but the value has gone down below what their current mortgage is, and the approval has to actually come from the bank. So the owner will sign off on an offer. It's still sort of like a standard sale where they look at the offers and they'll sign off on the one that they think is the strongest, but then we have to submit it to the bank, and the bank has to approve it. So the process is slightly different. It usually takes a little bit longer. People are scared of short sales because they're hearing that they take forever. I've had like 8 or 9 close this year in under 30-day approvals. So they're really not that scary. There's a bank that will go unnamed that does have some issues and takes a very, very long time. But other than that, the majority of them have really gotten on board and have a great streamlined process to get it approved. And as long as you submit a complete package, they're pretty quick about approving it. And people will ask me, well, is it a better deal if I buy a short sale than a regular sale? Yes and no, not really, because it's still being sold for what the current market value is. So it's still a market value that's comparable to a house next door that's being sold as a regular sale. It's not really that much less, but the difference is that the approval has to come from the bank. So that's what a short sale is. Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. She brought up something that is a really key point for people that are in trouble. Like if you have family or friends, it's so important to have an agent who really knows what they're doing with short sales. So if you're going to pick a listing agent such as Desiree, who has a tremendous amount of experience with dealing with these banks, and because I've seen so many disasters with real estate agents who don't know what they're doing dealing with banks, and the process is a nightmare. And you hear some of them with stories out there where it's taken 6 months or a year, and the amount of pressure that they're under because the agent doesn't know what they're doing to get that regulation done. Whereas in her corner, she is a professional at the short sales and knows how to deal with the banks. It's so important to do that. So if there's family or friends out there that are in that situation, that are upside down and that they're under a lot of pressure, it's very important to have an agent that really knows what they're doing with short sales. I just wanted to add that in there.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to tell you that.
Thanks. And it's really important to not let your house go back to foreclosure. That's like one of my kind of, sensitive topics I've been talking about a lot recently, is trying to really help people not lose their house to foreclosure. So even if maybe not necessarily you, but again, friends or family or anybody who's upside down and they think, oh, I'm just going to walk away, it really salvages your credit 99% of the time. I mean, again, I don't want to, make 100% of the promises, but it salvages your credit because what happens is you've made an agreement with the bank to cooperate with them on a lower price. They've agreed to a lower price. And so, it goes as a knock against your credit, but it's not a court-ordered document. If it goes to foreclosure, that's 7 to 10 years on your credit. And I think people don't realize that. They think, oh, I'm just going to walk away and it's easier. But really, it's a hard hit on your credit, and it's very hard to get approved afterward to go buy a home down the line a few years from now. So at least if you've done a short sale, it shows that you've worked with the bank and you've cooperated. And maybe it's a hard hit on your credit for 2 years or 3 years, but I think most lenders are going to be pretty cognizant of the fact that a lot of people are doing it, and they might be a little bit more flexible in 2 or 3 years down the line to start giving some of those people loans again on homes when they're ready to purchase again.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I'm in that situation. I have a home here in Tarzana, and I have this home in Arizona. It's not worth the paper it sits on. Now, that house there, we've been paying all this time, literally $2,000 a month. Because I was good and responsible and paid my bills, I've lost $50,000 over the last 2 years on that house.
Yeah.
We thought the market was going to turn around and all that. It's just gotten worse. So I'm concerned because I have my property here that, we either we're going to move somewhere else. That one's not upside down and everything's current. Either wanted to, do a loan to get, or buy another property, do something with that